In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the 2012 speeder bike with Scout Trooper and talking about why this thing is still the definitive speeder bike and why it should be in the vintage collection. Hi there, Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk's Bounty video. And as you can see in front of me here, I do have the 2012 Toys R Us exclusive speeder bike with Scout Trooper. Now, what's funny about this set is it actually wasn't available to the UK. It was a Toys R Us exclusive in the US. I'm not too sure if it is available in other countries, but it certainly wasn't available in the UK, which was a bit of a bummer. I managed to pick this one up on eBay from Australia, of all places, for a total of about £45, which was including the shipping, which was an amazing deal. If you look on eBay in the UK, this thing tends to go for around £80, I would say. Maybe in Collectors Group you might be able to get it a bit cheaper. But as I mentioned in the intro, this speeder bike is still the definitive speed bike and it should be in the vintage collection in a box very much like this. I think it'd look awesome if they did that. And we're going to open this thing up in a minute once we've checked out the packaging. So if you do happen to like this video, don't forget to do a thumbs up down below and of course subscribe if you are new. Okay, so the packaging here, it's I think this was called the movie line. I think this was a bit like the Darth Maul packaging that was around at the time. It's definitely got that color scheme anyway, and as you can see there, speeder bike with Biker Scout, and it says customized speeder bike with detachable cannon, because you do get this extra little cannon in there. But the best thing about this thing is you're going to get an awesome clear stand, and you're going to be able to pose the speeder bike into loads of amazing poses just like the film. There's the back of the box there, which shows you a few other things that you can do with it. It's got a little opening hood to see the engine and everything, and we're going to talk about this in a second when we get it open, but I just wanted to show you the packaging there. Just wanted to quickly show you the awesome packaging here with this like backdrop which came in the box. So you might want to sort of display your speeder bike in front of that, maybe just cut these bits off, these side flaps off, and just have that one piece as the backdrop. That would be pretty cool. It's all blurry to make it look like they're going really fast. I think that's really cool. Okay then, so I've got the speeder bike and the Scout Trooper out of the packaging, and as you can see there, he is riding the speeder bike just like he would do in the film. It is pretty awesome. He's on the stand there, and unfortunately over time that stand has gone slightly yellow, bit of yellowing on there, which is a bit annoying, but overall it's pretty cool. But I just love the way this thing looks there flying in the air. It really does look screen accurate, and I've got to say, you know, as I said before, this vehicle could easily go into the vintage collection in one of those lovely vintage style boxes. I think if it was going to go into the vintage collection, it would possibly have a slightly better paint job. For example, the battle damage that we do have on here kind of has just been a bit splodged on, but obviously with the vintage collection it would have a much better wash about it, and the little intricate details of battle damage and scuffs and things like that would be a lot better in my opinion. But just like if you have a look at there, this is the definitive speeder bike. It is such a great looking vehicle, and it's got bags and bags of little intricate details which we're going to go through in a minute. So let's take the Scout Trooper off for now, and we'll just see there he does have pegs on his feet, and these little things here which hold his feet, they've got little toe caps, which is pretty cool. So you've got little toe caps there to hold his feet and a peg for the peg on his feet. Regarding the Trooper himself, he does have the legs specifically positioned like that so that he can ride the speeder bike. Obviously if you were to get a normal Scout Trooper, if you had the ball jointed hips, he would be able to ride it, but the way they position the knees curving out like that, he sits on it really, really good. He does have the gun in the holster on his ankle there, which is pretty cool. The only thing that I really don't like about this figure is the black hinges there, which is a bit annoying, but he does have some great articulation on the head. He's got like a double ball joint or like a little peg in there, so he's got movement. As you can see, you can get him in so many different poses for when he's riding that speeder bike, which is awesome. So yeah, overall a pretty decent Biker Scout or Scout Trooper, but he is only going to be for this. You're not really going to be able to stand him up or anything. You know, his legs are specifically for that. Just quickly on the tripod cannon that Bossk is holding here, we'll just get him out of the way. It is a bit flimsy. I think it's just been put in there as a little extra really. That keeps coming out of there. And yeah, the legs are a little bit spindly. it isn't great really, but it does fold up and you can actually connect it to the bottom of the speeder bike for extra playability. But essentially that never happened in the film and it looks a bit bulky, so I'm not even going to bother to put that on to show you. I might show you the box quickly just to show you what it looks like when that's on. So you can see the picture there. It's all folded up and put underneath, and it's just to add extra play value, but it's not really for me. That I prefer to see the speeder bike like this. So the stand has just got like a crisscross joint there which goes into the back. You can just see there the crisscross joint, and also the stand has a little pivot here, so you can actually pivot him round so you can have him on an angle. So if we just put that back in, you don't have to have it straight like that, you can actually have it at an angle, which is awesome. So just a nice little extra thing that Hasbro given you in this 2012 set. But let's take a closer look at the speeder bike. Alright, so the speeder bike in closer detail, just having a look at the wash on it. So it is mainly all one brown plastic. Of course, you've got paint apps on the seat and a little bag on the rear of the speeder bike there. You've got some controls, little silver paint and a little red piece of paint there. But as I mentioned before, the sort of battle damage and scuffs, it would be much better if they were to do this on the vintage collection. But I think the actual sculpt and mould of the vehicle, they could definitely use this in the vintage collection. Comparing it to the original vintage speeder bike, it doesn't unfortunately blow up, and that is a thing that really is a miss for me. I used to love doing that when I was a child. And also the legs are still spring loaded, kind of, but not so that you can actually sit it down. If you wanted to sit it down without using the clear stand, then you have to also use this little stand here. You put that on the front there and it allows you to stand it up. But I think it's better to just have it on that clear stand in fly mode, if you like. It looks a lot better that way. Of course, on the old vintage version, when you did move those spring-loaded legs, the flaps moved and they were detachable. These are actually on already and you have to move them by hand. And if you lift them right up there, you can see a bit of engine detail in the back there, which is pretty cool. So you can have those like half open, which is how I would have it in fly mode, if you like. You can see all the piping work and engine work there. And if we turn it over, a little bit of detail on the bottom as well. And of course it does have the gun just like the original vintage version, which is pretty cool. And there it is looking from the front. That's a little bit bent. I think that needs to be bent back into shape slightly. The handlebars are articulated. They move up and down like that, so you can articulate your Scout Trooper on there. And again, in the packaging, they have just bent there. So I think what I might do is I might get that in boiling water and actually straighten that up a little bit, because that's not really correct like that. The hood of the speeder bike does lift up, and this is different to the original vintage version, just to show you the engine there really, which is pretty cool. And obviously in the original vintage version, this whole front piece would come out as part of the exploding toy. But yeah, it doesn't do that. Instead, you have the playability of where you can actually see the engine inside. And there's some pretty decent detailing in there, it's got to be said. I think that's pretty nice. Just clips down like that. But yeah, this video is really just to show you the 2012 speeder bike and how I believe this is still a good enough vehicle to be put into the vintage collection, albeit with a nicer paint job. I think it would look really good. And if they were going to put it into the vintage collection, they would need to supply that stand with it as well, because I think that's awesome, the way you can position it into some kind of fly mode, just like the movie. So we're going to do that now. Actually, we're going to put him back on the stand, put the figure back on, and we're going to get that backdrop on there so we can see what it would look like. And there he is with the background just behind him. Looks absolutely awesome. I absolutely love this thing, and you know, come on Hasbro, we need this in the vintage collection. We haven't got a speeder bike yet in the vintage collection, and as I mentioned before, it would look absolutely perfect in, you know, this box, the original vintage style box, just like you did with the Tauntaun and the Land Speeder and things like that. That is what we want. But I think if it's based on this mold with a decent paint job, I think this would be awesome. I think everyone would be really happy with that. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to drop a like down below if you have enjoyed this video, and of course subscribe if you're new to the channel. Thanks very much then guys, and we'll see you on the next one.